Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, today I am going to finish the male reproductive system, and we will talk about the seminal vesicles, the prostate gland and the bulbourethral gland, which are the accessory sex glands of the male. And ultimately we will study the histology of the penis, which is the copulatory organ. And if we talk about the glands, the seminal vesicle is a highly tortuous tube about 15 centimeter long. Seminal vesicles, these are actually the pair of exocrine glands responsible for secreting up to 85% of total volume of semen. Each seminal vesicle is a complex glandular diverticulum of the associated ductus deferens. It is a tube which is 15 centimeter in length. The lumen is highly irregular, recessed and thrown into tortuous folds. So you will see in it the primary, secondary and the tertiary folds. Lumen gives honeycombed appearance at low magnification. When we see a cut section, the lumen will gives rise to a honeycombed appearance, just like जैसे शहद की मक्खियों का छत्ता होता है, आप ये देख रहे हैं. Can you see this is the seminal vesicle and this is the cut section, and this is actually a duct. This is a 15 centimeter tube, and when we see its cross section, we will find that this tube is made up of three layers: the mucosa muscularis and adventitia, and the mucosa is thrown into these complicated folds. The primary folds of the mucosa branch into secondary and tertiary folds. The lining epithelium is of pseudostratified columnar variety, and beneath the epithelium is present a lamina propria of loose vascular connective tissue, rich in elastic fibers. The pseudostratified epithelium of seminal vesicle consists of secretory principal cells and basal cells. So there are two types of cells seen in this epithelium. The principal cells shows the feature of protein secreting cells, that is prominent rough endoplasmic reticulum, well developed Golgi body and secretory granules. We have studied all. So this is the diagram showing you the seminal vesicle in a cross section. And I was talking about the principal cells and the basal cells. The principal cells are the cells which are protein secreting cells. So all the characteristic features of a protein secreting cells are found in this. That is, there will be a very prominent rough endoplasmic reticulum. The Golgi body is very well developed, and there are secretory granules seen in the apical side of the cytoplasm. These cells secrete a yellowish viscous fluid. The muscularis is composed of inner circular and outer longitudinal layers of smooth muscles. The adventitia consists of a thin layer of connective tissue containing numerous elastic fibers. This is another diagram which will show you the multiple folds, which are the primary, secondary and the tertiary folds, just like a honeycomb appearance. And then we have got, this is the epithelium, pseudostratified columnar ciliate. Lining the lumen of the tube is the epithelium, then the lamina propria, both are included in the mucosa, then is the muscularis and adventitia. Seminal vesicles function as a gland. So again revise. The wall of each seminal vesicle is composed of three coats: the mucosa muscularis and adventitia. Another diagram to show you the seminal vesicle. Now the secretions of the seminal vesicles, it is a yellowish viscid alkaline fluid which contains fructose, fibrinogen, vitamin C, prostaglandins, and it aids in nutrition and motility of the spermatozoa. So seminal vesicle, although it is a tube, but its function is as a gland. and their secretory products contain also the globulin, ascorbic acid. Now the prostate gland. The prostate is in reality a collection of 30 to 50 small compound tubuloalveolar glands, and the duct from the individual gland converge to form 16 to 32 terminal ducts which open directly in the prostatic part of the urethra. The glandular elements are located in 3 different areas which surround the urethra in a concentric manner. So this is the prostate gland, which is surrounding the neck of the urinary bladder, and it is around the urethra, and the part of the urethra which is passing through this gland is the prostatic part of the urethra. This is an accessory reproductive gland, and histology is composed of, there is a stroma, and there are, I have said, there are tubuloalveolar glands. Now this picture shows you that the prostate is a collection of 30 to 50 branched tubuloalveolar glands, and their ducts empty into the prostatic urethra which cross the prostate. The prostate has 3 distinct zones. The central zone. This is the mucosal zone, and it occupies 25% of the gland's volume. 70% of the gland is formed by the peripheral zone. So this is the peripheral zone. The submucosal zone is of medical importance because it is the site at which most benign prostatic hyperplasia originates. In the old age, always there will be the prostatic enlargement, and this is known as BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. Benign prostatic hyperplasia. Let's talk about the capsule. A partial capsule encloses the posterior and lateral aspects of the prostate. Anterior and apical surfaces are bounded by a part of the gland itself, the anterior fibromuscular stroma. Fibromuscular stroma is composed of collagenous fibers and muscle fibers. Because there will be a lot of contraction during the ejaculation, the prostate gland contracts. As regards the parenchyma, can you see the diagram? These are the prostatic acini. Prostate consists of branched tubular and tubuloacinar glands, and these glands show a convoluted pattern with epithelium thrown into the folds. You can see the folds of the epithelium into the lumen of the alveoli. Lining epithelium is of simple columnar variety. It may be cuboidal sometimes. So this is the prostate gland. You can see this is the simple columnar epithelium in the mucosa. This is the lumen of the gland, and from the lumen, if we go outwards, there will be the simple columnar epithelium. Then there will be the lamina propria. These are the fibromuscular septa which form the stroma of the gland. All these are the prostatic follicles or acini. You can see the smooth muscles in the stroma. So the stroma of the prostate is fibromuscular. A very important feature of the prostatic acinus is the presence of an amyloid body or corpora amylacea. This body which is present in the center of the prostatic acini is called the corpora amylacea. Under the light microscope, epithelial cells contain a round nucleus, abundant lipid droplets, and many secretory granules. But under the electron microscope, the cells contain a large number of lysosomes. The ducts of prostatic glands are lined by simple cuboidal epithelium. The supporting stroma is a mixture of collagenous fibers and the smooth muscle fibers. The anterior fibromuscular stroma contains no glandular element and lies anteriorly. The clinical correlation is most cases of prostatic cancer arise in the peripheral zone and almost all cases of BPH arise in the transitional zone. I have already told you.
इस ऑपरेशन के बारे में
Whenever
मैं
there is
आगे चल के
prostatic
आपको दो
hyperplasia, today's
क्लिप्स
the
दिखा रहा
most
हूँ,
important
जिनमें से एक जो
operation
है
is
वो
the
TURP की है और एक जो पुराने ज़माने
transurethral
में एक ओपन
resection of the
सर्जरी किया
prostate,
करते थे सर्जन्स,
TURP,
जिसमें
also
वो
known as
अपना
TURP.
लेप्रोटमी करके पूरे
You
के
can
पूरे
see
प्रोस्टेट को निकाल दिया
this is
करते
an
थे।
endoscope which
तो
is
वो
put
आप
through the
आगे चल
penis
के इसके बारे में
into the
स्टडी करेंगे और देखेंगे।
prostate gland, and
आजकल
then
यूरोलॉजिस्ट
with
जो
the
हैं वो सिर्फ
resection
TUR ही किया
with
करते
one
हैं।
of the
ओपन
resectors,
सर्जरी
the
इज़
resection of
ऑब्सोलीट
the
नाउअडेज।
prostate gland. So what about the corpora amylacea? These are the spherical concretions observed in lumen of some prostatic glands, formed by condensation of inspissated secretions. 250 microns to 1 millimeter in diameter, appear as concentric lamellated bodies. They calcified increase in number with the age, so they are not very well developed in the young age. You will see in the old age. This is the difference between the older and the younger prostate gland, that there will be a lot of corpora amylacea. These are the bodies which are the corpora amylacea, or prostatic concretions. Another name is the prostatic concretion because ये पथरियाँ हैं, ये इनमें कैल्सिफिकेशन हो जाती है और ये हार्ड पथरी की तरह की हो जाती है, कंक्रीशन कहते हैं। A thin liquid rich in citric acid, proteolytic enzymes including fibrolysins is the prostatic secretion, and it makes half of the seminal fluid. The proteolytic enzymes liquefy the coagulated semen after it is deposited in the vagina. So the prostatic secretion is also very important during the intercourse. Can you see this diagram? This is the TUR or TURP, transurethral resection of the prostate gland. Whenever there is BPH, that is benign prostatic hyperplasia, the urologists, they do the operation called TUR. They put an endoscope through the penis and then they resect the extra prostatic tissue and they open the urethra.
Transurethral resection of the prostate, or TURP, is a surgical procedure during which part of the prostate gland is removed. The prostate is a walnut-sized gland in men that is located at the base of the bladder where it wraps around the urethra. A TURP is often performed for a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia. In this non-cancerous condition, the prostate enlarges to the point of causing difficulty with urination. A TURP may also be performed in patients with prostate cancer to relieve bladder obstruction. When you arrive at the hospital for your surgery, an intravenous line will be started. You may be given antibiotics to decrease your chance of infection. A TURP may be performed under general or spinal anesthesia. If you're given general anesthesia, you will be unconscious and a breathing tube will be inserted into your throat to help you breathe for the duration of the operation. If you receive spinal anesthesia, you will remain conscious and the lower half of your body will be numb during the operation. You'll be given sedation to help you relax. An uncomplicated TURP usually takes about an hour to perform. Your surgeon will begin by slipping a small lighted instrument called a cystoscope through the opening of your penis. After instilling sterile solution through the cystoscope for better visibility, your surgeon will carefully examine the inside of your urethra, prostate, and bladder. He or she will then pass a resectoscope, which essentially consists of a small wire loop carrying an electric current, through the cystoscope and use it to shave off layers of prostate tissue. These bits will be washed into the bladder and out through a special port in the cystoscope. When an optimal amount of prostate tissue has been excised, your surgeon will remove the cystoscope and place a catheter into your bladder to keep it draining for up to 2 days after the surgery. Following the procedure, you will be taken to the recovery area for monitoring and given pain medication as needed. You may continue to receive antibiotics through your intravenous line, and a sterile solution may be flushed intermittently through the catheter tube to wash out accumulated blood and clots. Most patients are released from the hospital within 2 days of the procedure.
Now this is the picture showing you the bulbourethral gland. And what are the bulbourethral glands of Cowper? It is a pair of pea-sized bodies, मटर के दाने की जितनी glands होती हैं, lying posterolateral to the membranous part of the urethra, and this gland is covered by a thin connective tissue capsule. Each gland is composed of tubulo-alveolar glands whose ducts drain into the proximal part of the penile urethra. So these are present here on the posterolateral side of the membranous part of the urethra. If we cut a section, you will find that this gland has got the acini. It is a tubulo-alveolar gland, so you will find the acini. So these are the acini. These are the acini. The gland is covered by a thin connective tissue capsule, external to which is present is a layer of skeletal muscle fibers derived from the muscles which lie around the gland. The gland substance is divided into lobules because the capsule sends septa inside. These septa are composed of fibrous connective tissue containing the elastic fibers and the smooth muscles, also some skeletal muscles. The secretory portions of the bulbourethral glands may be tubular or alveolar or in the form of cyst-like dilatations. They are lined by a simple epithelium whose height varies from low columnar to cuboidal and which may appear to be almost flat in the large distended alveoli. The cells have basally placed nuclei and their apical region contains variable number of mucinogen granules and spindle-shaped acidophilic inclusions The smaller ducts of the glands show simple columnar epithelium, while the main duct is lined by pseudostratified epithelium. During erotic stimulation, the bulbourethral glands secrete a mucoid secretion which acts as lubricant for the urethra. The penis consists chiefly of three cylindrical masses of erectile tissue, the paired corpora cavernosa, which lie dorsally. The upper surface is the dorsal surface and the lower surface is the ventral surface. As in the case of the tongue, I have told you the dorsal surface of the tongue is the upper surface, which is roughened and having the lingual papillae. But here the dorsal surface of the penis is on the upper side, and on the upper side there are two paired corpora cavernosa, while there is a single corpus spongiosum is present on the ventral side. The cavernous portion of the urethra passes through the corpus spongiosum. The paired corpora cavernosa are fused together in the body of the penis but diverge in the perineum to form crura of the penis, which is attached with the pubic bone. The corpus spongiosum enlarges proximally to form the bulb of the penis. Distally it expands to form a cup-shaped enlargement which is called the glans penis, which forms a cap over the conical ends of the corpora cavernosa. This is the transverse section. You can see these are the dorsal sides. This is the dorsal side, this is the ventral side, and these are two corpora cavernosa. This is the dorsal, deep dorsal vein. This is the spongy part of the urethra lying in the corpus spongiosum. So this is the deep fascia, the superficial fascia. All is covered by a skin. All this covered by a skin. And you can also identify the tunica albuginea, a very thick white membrane or the capsule, as we have seen in the case of the testes. The tunica albuginea surrounds the corpus. So these three cylinders of the erectile tissue are surrounded by subcutaneous tissue, which is devoid of fat but contains a large number of smooth muscle fibers. The skin covering the organ is delicate, elastic and hairless except at the root. It contains small sweat glands and a few sebaceous glands which are not associated with the hair follicles. So there are no hair follicles here lying. In a transverse section of the penis, you will see the corpora cavernosa, which are surrounded by a thick capsule of fibrous connective tissue, and that is called the tunica albuginea. In the body of the penis, an incomplete median septum of fibrous tissue called pectiniform septum is present between the two corpora cavernosa. ये आप देख सकते हैं. This is incomplete, empty inside. The erectile tissue of the corpora cavernosa consists of a sponge-like mass of irregular venous spaces lined by endothelium. Between the venous spaces lie trabeculae, which are continuous with the tunica albuginea and are made up of collagenous and elastic fibers and smooth muscle cells. The cavernous spaces of the two corpora cavernosa communicate with each other through the gaps in the median septum I have shown. The corpus spongiosum is also surrounded by a fibrous sheath which is much thinner than that of the corpora cavernosa. This is corpus spongiosum. The trabeculae of the corpus spongiosum are also thinner and contain more elastic tissue. The prepuce. The prepuce is a fold of skin that overlies the glans penis. It consists of connective tissue containing smooth muscle fibers and is covered by a very thin epidermis. The inner surface of the prepuce in relation to the glans is moist and non-cornified. On this surface and on the glans as well, there are a number of modified sebaceous glands known as the glands of Tyson. So in the case of the circumcision, we remove the prepuce. So this is a retractile fold of skin that contains connective tissue and smooth muscles in its interior. Sebaceous glands are present in the internal fold and in the skin that covers the glans. The corpora cavernosa are covered by a resistant layer of dense connective tissue, that is the tunica albuginea. Corpora cavernosa of the penis and the corpus cavernosum of the urethra are composed of rectile tissue. This is a tissue with a large number of venous spaces lined with endothelial cells and separated by trabeculae of the connective tissue fibers and the smooth muscles. So, my dear students, this was about the male reproductive system. Next time we will study the female reproductive organs, the histology of the female reproductive organs.